Hey there, what is a final walkthrough in real estate? What is a final walkthrough and who the heck even attends them? You know, once you take possession, once you have closed on your home, once you have those keys, once you've signed on that dotted line and you've handed over your cashier's check, you own that property. Let's talk about some of the things that you can do to safeguard yourself at the very last minute to make sure that you are getting exactly the home that you thought you were getting. We need to talk about it, but let's go on inside. Does anyone else have to hide from your dog when you do video? Oh, he stinks. My name is Susan Thetford with Parks Properties here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. My passion is helping you make sense of everyday real estate. If you would like my recommendations of a great realtor near you, or just like to talk about real estate in general, give me a buzz. My contact information is all right below in the notes. And if this is your first time here on my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Like the video, you're already here, and tap that bell. You will get notification every time a new video drops, which is weekly, about all things real estate and Nashville. And thank you. I look forward to seeing you again next week. So in this video, we're going to get the real skinny on what is it the final walkthrough is, what it isn't, who attends, what you should be looking for, why you want to do it in the first place, and how it should be done. So let's get to it. You know, in all the excitement of finally seeing the end, of finally seeing where you're going to have those keys and you got the moving truck all scheduled and it's just a couple days away, if not today, it's very easy to overlook what you contracted for in all probability, which was your final walkthrough. Now, here's what a final walkthrough is. It is your ability to walk through the home to do two things. One, see that all repairs that were negotiated during the inspection clause period, if you had repairs, to be completed by the seller. This is the time to see that those repairs were done. Maybe ask for receipts if you can't visually see it, but to know exactly what was done and see that they were done in a good manner. Number two, it's the opportunity to make sure that nothing new has happened to that property. So it's in materially the exact same condition that it was in when you purchased it, put it under contract, and did your inspection. What it is not is the time to think that you can come back in and try to renegotiate the contract in any way, or to renegotiate pricing of anything in any way. It is not that. It is a safeguard before you close. Now, when should you do it? It should be performed ideally. Every situation is different. And so that's really no hard and fast rule. If the family or the owner has been living in the home the entire time, maybe the day before or 2 days prior to, especially if there's not a long list of repairs that had to be made. But if there's an exorbitant long list of repairs to be made, and you question possibly that maybe all of them were made, you need the time to check that they were made or not made, and have the seller have time to get those repairs made prior to closing. So that means if you have a question about it, and if you do the walkthrough the night before closing at 9 a.m. the next day, in all probability, those repairs can't be made. So in many ways, it's a judgment call, but you've got to be sure to do one. Now, if the home is vacant, I absolutely would do one several days prior to, because a vacant home often has problems that it didn't have when you contracted for it. Typically, a contract may take 30 to 45 days to close once it is under contract. It may take 30 to 45 days to close because of the loan process, right? A home that is vacant, that hasn't been used, the water hasn't been run, the toilets haven't been flushed, so many things can happen in a vacant home that are unforeseen, that doing that walkthrough several days prior to check on those things is a really good idea. Who attends that walkthrough? As the buyer's agent, I always attend with my buyer. Sometimes the seller is there, sometimes the seller's agent is there. It really doesn't much matter, but I certainly attend, and here's the reason. Our original contract, making sure that all the things that was contracted for are still in the home, like maybe the refrigerator or the washer and dryer, if it were contracted to stay. The things that are in the contract to stay, we're there to make sure it still stays. We're also there with the printed out sheet of repairs that were negotiated to be repaired to make sure that they were done, to get an invoice from each thing that was done if we haven't received it prior to the walkthrough. We're also there to see other things that is still materially in the same condition. So why my buyers may be now excited and thinking furniture placement and really will that king size bed still fit? And how we're going to get that huge sofa up those narrow stairs. They're thinking about the things that are exciting about the moving day. I'm going around and doing things with my electric plug charger to make sure that all the plugs are still working. Running the water, opening the cabinets to make sure that there's no leak under the cabinets when the water's running. Checking the dishwasher, making sure the microwave still works, just to put water in it, 2-3 seconds of water in there. Walking around outside, making sure that all the plant material is still there. I've had people dig up plants before and take them, and you didn't notice it for a couple weeks later. Walking around outside to make sure that it's materially in the very same position. We in Nashville have recently had a lot of storms. Let me give you a true life horror story that could have been a horror story. So we've had a lot of storms recently. I represented the seller. My seller had moved a week prior to closing. We had a series of storms that went through, and the buyer's agent and the buyer went the night before closing to do their walkthrough. A tree had fallen in the storm and had fallen on top of the fencing, and about half that tree was broken and dead. Had they not done that walkthrough right before closing, they wouldn't have seen that tree. My sellers were out of town. They didn't know about that tree. Had that buyer not seen it, he would have closed. The seller would have had his money. The buyer would now own the problem along with the house, and it would have been his financial responsibility. So that's just one small reason to make sure. I've had so many other situations. I had a situation where someone took all the hardware off of the doors. They took the knobs, the locks, the eye-ring, they took the security cameras, they took all kinds of things that were not supposed to leave. And we did our walkthrough prior to the closing the night before. Just had a feeling that that might be the smart thing to do, and we found all kinds of things that should not have been taken from that house. It can get sticky, it really can. But that walkthrough will help you know what you're getting into when you're walking into that closing. Hey, have you got any questions about who actually pays your agent? I have a great video explaining all that. It's right there. You might want to check it out. But that one's really pretty good too. So you be the judge. I'll see you soon.